Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space, where I take stories from across the internet and read them for your entertainment. This particular story is called Yes, Sir, written by Gorbashsan. The pseudopod slapped down on the sticky table and formed a speech carapace orifice as the blobby shape in the seat shook with recognition. Friend Brewer, I haven't seen you since you hired the fresh crew after your ship upgrade. How is the trade route guard business now that you have a decent gunboat? Less trouble than from the pirates, I expect. The being this call was directed towards snapped his focus to the scene in front of him, seemingly only just now realizing where he was. He called back across the drinking establishment hall. Fish, yes. I've had less minor-scale attempts at targeting the vessels under my escort. However, I'd consider increased pirate activity over dealing with the crew were it an option. The pseudopods contorted into a polite, inquisitive shape as he thought over that statement. What do you mean, my friend? Burer's mandibles clacked in disgust. He turned to shout, Barbotch, 2 second-tier inebriants. Having ordered his liquid therapy, he faced his companion and rattled his vestigial wing casings, as if they would help him settle into his seat. It's not all of them. In fact, it's just one of them that is the source of this issue. But the behavior has spread discipline issues to the rest. Even some of my original core crew have begun acting in a manner I consider disrespectful. Friend Bureau, let us not be delicate. For clearly you are in no mood for meaningless platitudes. You have always had a certain level of disrespect aimed at you. Your style of command may be efficient and in line with the regulatory practices, but frankly, when on the job you've always been what's the term the humans have for this? A hard ass? That's it. The human is the problem, Fesh. He keeps following my orders. Fesh undulated slowly, indicating confusion and concern. Wait, shouldn't that be a good thing? Normally, yes, sir. I apologize for the increased volume of my reply. I'm somewhat emotionally unbalanced right now. The drink slid onto the table, and the hovering servo arm of the bot pressed entered a cred chip receptacle. Bureau took a moment to swipe his chip before continuing. This is inherently illogical, I know, but it's true. Somehow the new human I hired manages to follow every rule and complete every task assigned to him. Not just that, they do so in a shockingly rapid manner. Naturally, I have 2 of my own humans aboard. They are generally adept at whatever they trade in, and being such dense high-gravity world beings, they don't tire as quickly as most and move at a rapid pace. Nothing you have said would indicate that you have reason to be this emotionally distressed, though. That's just it, Fresh. They are fast and efficient, and mine completes tasks assigned. The problem is the human seems to find a flaw in my orders every time. It's as though they are too stupid to realize they have either interpreted it incorrectly, or they have no idea how the task should be performed. However, they always manage to complete the task in exactly the manner which it was worded. So I can't even punish them for what they have done. Bureau sank his drink tube into the first mug and drained it immediately. I'm still confused, my friend. If they are following your orders exactly, why would you punish them? You lack flexibility, and your adherence to the rules is commendable, even if it's not my style. But you have never been one for arbitrary discipline or unwarranted punishment. It would be warranted, believe me. Look, I'll give you an example. 6 cycles ago, the human had put in a request to hold some kind of minor gambling game involving several other crew members. Apparently, an event associated with the holiday on the Terran homeworld. It involved a concave food dish of some kind that they would view on a large screen he wished to temporarily install in an empty cargo hold and make wagers on certain situational occurrences, and a greater wager on the outcome, as he explained it. This was to be accompanied by consumption of various food items of questionable nutritional value, alongside mild inebriants. Naturally, this violates a large number of ship's rules and regulatory body directives and laws regarding appropriate and legal behavior while underway on any ship carrying armaments above Class 3 acting in a civilian security capacity. Fesh contracted slightly, stiffening his body to mute reactions.
Friend Bura, what you have denied your human was what may be one of the strongest pack bonding activities of his social subset. It is known as a Super Bowl party.
Yes, that's what the exact term they used. Well, at least I know it wasn't a unique incident. Well, following the denial of his request, I issued orders for him to clean the cargo bay in question, as he had already begun preparations for the event prior to obtaining permission. In my ignorance, I made the mistake of issuing the order in this way. I want everything removed from this cargo hold and every surface scrubbed and polished till it is as clean as the day it was assembled. Involuntary convulsions rippled through Fesh.
Please continue, though I believe I may have an idea of what happened.
In his exhausted state, Bura failed to notice his companion's ripples and continued. Well, I expected not to hear back from the task until the following cycle, given the dimensions of the bay. However, not a quarter cycle later, I see the task completed indicator on the task appear on the job board. I was incredulous and immediately went to inspect the work. Upon entering the cargo bay, what I found was that every single surface had been stripped of paint and polished to a mirror shine, and every single piece of equipment that was not on the original ship specifications had been removed and placed in the refuse cart. I was enraged, and yet I had given the order. It was cleansed of absolutely everything that was not present at the time the ship had been released from the construction yards, and it has only gotten worse from that point. Every task I assign has been completed with admirable speed and accuracy. I cannot find a single fault in the execution given the wording, and yet the results are always in a form that I would not desire. He slumped against the table, sipping at his second cup of inebriant. The sense of defeat hung like a miasma around him.
Well, forgive the pun, but I think you have been somewhat inflexible in your command, and this has resulted in what my own humans have told me is a ritual of protest known as malicious compliance.
Bara tilted his head at this. Malicious compliance? That makes no sense.
Ah, but it does, my friend. You see, it is a way of finding the worst possible way of interpreting orders and giving the person you are angry with exactly what they ask for, while doing everything you can to make sure that it is not what they actually want. And given their creativity and intelligence is on a higher side for galactic average, they can do a lot of damage while remaining perfectly within the law. What you are also experiencing is the rest of your crew seeing their newest member defy you when you have been somewhat less than flexible and unforgiving in your enforcement of what we can honestly say is a less than critical ship rule, rather than granting an exception for a special occasion. This has hurt your relationship and resulted in negative feelings from your crew in general. And since your human has managed to not only comply with your orders perfectly, but enrage you to the point you are now by doing so, he has rallied them to his side quite efficiently. Since I can tell you honestly that while everyone on your crew respects you, after all, you have run a very safe and efficient ship, not one of them honestly likes you. I'm not trying to be cruel here. You are my friend. And I feel that being honest and blunt about this will lead you to see the error of your ways, and perhaps make some changes that will result in a much happier, if slightly less efficient ship. Fesh finally loosened up again, reaching a pair of pseudopods out to firmly pat Bura on his upper grasping arms in an affectionate manner. Bore shivered as he considered that scenario. He reached a delicate middle grasping hand out and held one of the extended appendages. As usual, my friend, you see things I cannot by looking at them from every side. Tell me truly, am I a bad captain? No, never. You have always been a strict but fair captain. Your ship in perfect order, your crew safe and well looked after. But you are perhaps not a good captain, because you never were able to connect with your crew on a more personal level. You lack flexibility, and your adherence to the rules is commendable, but you aren't in the military anymore. And this crew is all civilian. Civilian captains are different. Your crew, when they are long-term, are more like family for many. Sometimes, literally. I've entered a life bond with my engineer, you know. Your engineer? The human one? Indeed. And I love him dearly. And I tell you this, it is my relationship with him that has led me to the insight into your situation. Take it from me. Learn to go with the flow once in a while. And next time your human asks for something, try to check if it's really important to them. Yes, I think I'll do that. If I had known this was such an important event, well, no, I probably wouldn't have approved it anyway. But from now on, yes, I will try to be less kite-bound in my thinking. I retired almost 5 rotations ago. Perhaps it's time to let go of the more restrictive mythology of my military days. Truly, again, thank you. I needed to hear this, and it needed to come from a friend. Of course, Barry, I will always have an honest view of you when needed, and a bit of advice before you go, yes. Call up my other human crewman, my cargo master, and ask him for a list of supplies to implement Taco Tuesday on your ship before leaving on your next assignment. That'll probably go a long way towards making your human feel better. Before you know it, you might be able to order the secondary optical sensors to be scrubbed clean and not find them made opaque with an abrasive pad after. Another shudder, this one slightly less tinged with anxiety, passed through Bowers' carapace. I will take you up on that advice immediately. Inebriants on my tab for the night fresh. You have probably saved my sanity. He stepped to the barbot and arranged the payment. Fesh called out as Barra reached the front door. Best of luck, friend. You'll need it. And with a smug oozing, ordered another drink, mumbling to himself. I do hope he can loosen up before he breaks. Humans are like a hammer on the psyche if you handle them wrong, but worth their weight in palladium when you handle them right. End of story. I would just like to thank the T5 supporters. Bushmaster 117, Caspar Arnholtz, Draxoon WRE, Elijah Silvercross, Gray, John Carrington, and Severin Cerberus. Thank you very much.